In this video we are going to have a look on how Max Verstappen managed to beat Lando Norris to pole position in Suzuka in 2025, and at first we can see that Max Verstappen's top speed at the main straight is 4 kph higher than the top speed of Lando Norris. But Max Verstappen deactivates the DRS a little bit earlier before turn 1 than Lando Norris does. However, as we continue through turn 1 and 2, we can see that Lando Norris' minimum speed is 6 kph higher than the minimum speed from Max Verstappen, and he is 1 gear lower. But Max is a little bit earlier back on full throttle and gains a little bit time back at the exit of the corner, as we are now at the beginning of the S's, and you can see Lando Norris takes the first corner of the S's full throttle while Max Verstappen lifts a little bit. And as we continue through the S's, Lando's minimum speed at turn 4 is 4 kph higher than the minimum speed from Max Verstappen. At turn 5 it's 3 kph higher, and at turn 6 again 4 kph higher. However, at turn 6 Lando Norris touches the brake while Max Verstappen only lifts. Both drivers are easy full throttle through turn 7 as we come up to the end of the first sector now. And from what we have seen at the main straight and through the first sector, I guess Lando Norris runs more downforce than Max Verstappen. But in total, they are very close together. Lando Norris is only 0.02 of a second faster through the first sector than Max Verstappen. What we will see next describes pretty good the difference in driving styles between Verstappen and Lando Norris. Next up is turn 8, or better known as Degna 1, and Lando Norris does a full lift of throttle around the 50-meter board while Max Verstappen stays flat out until he really turns into the corner. But on the other hand then, Lando Norris is almost back on full throttle around the apex of the corner, but in total Max Verstappen's minimum speed is 27 kph higher than the minimum speed from Lando Norris at turn 8, and he's 1 gear down while Max Verstappen stayed in 7th gear. And also for turn 9, Lando Norris is quite early on the brakes while Max Verstappen brakes later into the corner, but in total this time Lando Norris' minimum speed is 9 kph higher than the minimum speed from Verstappen, and he's earlier back on throttle than Max does. But as we come up to the hairpin, their top speed before the hairpin is equal again, both 265 kph, but once again Max Verstappen brakes later and deeper into the hairpin. Lando Norris opts for the 2nd gear while Verstappen stays in 3rd, but Lando Norris also takes a tighter line through the corner with a lower minimum speed of 3 kph than Verstappen, but prepares the exit better with a tighter line, so that Lando Norris gets a better exit and is faster out of the corner. We can say Max Verstappen brakes later, a faster entry to the corner, but Lando Norris has a faster exit out of the corners. But I guess from the lower downforce of the Red Bull, Max Verstappen catches up at the end of the straights and is 3 kph faster before Spoon than Lando Norris. We then have a similar picture through Spoon than we had the corners before. Lando Norris brakes earlier but is faster out of the corner than Verstappen, and we can see that pretty good at the exit. He's 9 kph faster when they reach the green concrete part at the end of the corner. But once again, the lower downforce or the different energy deployment comes into play at this straight, because at the end of the 2nd sector Max Verstappen is once again only 1 kph slower than Lando Norris, but in total Lando Norris was half a tenth faster through the 2nd sector than Verstappen and is now already 700ths up on him. Easy full throttle through 130R, and Max Verstappen once again brakes later into the chicane than Lando Norris does. Lando Norris uses much more of the inside curb than Max Verstappen. They have the same speed at this time, but now the big change comes into play between the two corners of the chicane. Max Verstappen can accelerate up to 115 kph, while Lando Norris only accelerates until 108 kph. And also now at the left hand of the chicane, Max Verstappen's minimum speed is 4 kph higher than the minimum speed from Lando Norris. Once again, Lando Norris has a slightly better exit, so he should be able to keep the pole position, but then something very strange happening, because Max Verstappen activates DRS as soon as it's available, but Lando Norris does not. As we roll further a little bit, you can see that he only activates DRS now a couple of meters before the start of finish line, and Max Verstappen catched up. He's now only 1 kph behind him when he was 5 kph slower when he activated the DRS. So Lando Norris lost quite a bit because he activated DRS too late, and in total he's about 1/10 of a second slower in the third sector than Max Verstappen, which adds up to a total of 12 thousandths of a second slower than Max Verstappen. And I think if he had activated DRS in time, he would have been able to score the pole position, but I don't know the reason why, if he forgot to activate it or if he pressed the button but nothing happened and he had to press again. I have no idea, but for me it looks like he lost it in the last chicane. Max Verstappen was better through there, and because he activated the DRS too late. Let me know your thoughts about this in the comments down below. Like and subscribe, and then I will see you soon. Bye bye.